Well, happy days, I am back. As you can see, I have the ability to upload videos again, and my channel has not been obliterated off the face of the earth. It's a small victory, kinda. I want to outline what happened over these past few weeks and talk about something pretty serious. You can ignore all of this footage in the background. I just wanted to have something there for the time being, so you weren't just staring at a black screen. To start at the very beginning, for those who may not have noticed or weren't aware, on February 21st, I woke up to 18 video takedowns courtesy of Toei Animation. That was every single Dragon Ball Daima video I had made since the show began. It resulted in 4 copyright strikes that then scheduled my channel for termination on February 28th. I was never given any reason in these takedown notices, just beyond the usual very vague spiel about the videos containing copyrighted content, but having reflected on it and looked around, I think ultimately it's very easy to surmise that the likely reason is because some of those videos contained unreleased production materials. I noticed that on sites like Twitter, they'd also gone after people who'd posted them there too, so I guess it stands to reason that they'd also come after videos that contain that stuff. Toei obviously gets a bad rep when it comes to copyright. I probably don't need to remind you of the Totally Not Mark situation from a few years ago, but at least with Daima, I hadn't run into any issues until this point. I'd been able to use footage freely, there were no automated content ID issues, and the one time that did happen, it was so obviously a mistake, it was resolved almost immediately. In my experience making stuff for the past couple months, Toei had actually been more than fair with what creators could use. I want to be really clear that them taking down internal materials that people have posted online is obviously completely fine, it's well within their rights, there's no excuses for that, but I suppose that may also have you wondering, if I know that, then why did I include them in my videos? And I think that's a fair question. To understand that, you kind of have to go back to Dragon Ball Super. Throughout that series' run, these types of materials appeared online all the time. Character sheets, storyboards, anything you could think of would almost always end up on auction sites from freelance animators looking to make some money. Even at the time, I bought many of them off Yahoo Auctions, Mandarake. They're not just novel, but they're really important documentation for anyone interested in how a show is made. They were invaluable in letting me discuss design choices and episode execution, and I'd put them all throughout my Super videos without issue. I figured that might be the same with Daima. Unfortunately, I think the difference between me doing that in Super compared to Daima is really just the proximity to the original episode's release. There's obviously a big difference between materials appearing just a few days after their debut, like I did with Daima, compared to the several weeks in Super's case. By that point, all the marketing and merch stuff that they probably want to use that stuff for is done with, and so materials appearing online after that just aren't really a huge deal. I'd kind of taken that into account. I knew it was not quite the same, and that's why I'd been extremely conservative with where they were included. There's really just a couple videos I'm sure you can remember, mainly the Vegeta episode and the Super Saiyan 4 episode. It was just a case of me thinking they best served the video's analysis. The issue was that Toei took down all 18 videos, the vast majority of which were completely absent of any materials, and to be honest, were completely under the Fair Use Act as defined by the United Kingdom. As I mentioned, however, I had 4 strikes despite 18 videos taken down. This was because of a new takedown method that I wasn't even aware of, and that's a thing called multi-video strikes. What that means is that within a single strike, a copyright holder can include up to 5 videos, creating a kind of strike folder. So I was hit with 3 strike folders that contained 5 videos each, that's 15, and then another strike folder that contained 3, that brings us up to 18. The terrifying thing about this type of strike is that to clear a single one off of your account, you need to successfully counterclaim all of the videos contained within that folder, all 5, just to remove 1 strike. Now I had 4 strikes, and 3 is what puts your account into termination status. To get down to 2, aka the safe zone, I needed to counterclaim 10 videos. Now given just how few of my videos actually contained any problematic materials, that probably doesn't sound all that doom and gloom, but this is where I noticed the very scary reality of the situation. The way that the videos had been organized across those strikes meant that within 3 of the strike folders was a problematic video each. As I said, you need to clear all the videos within one of those strike folders to wipe it clean, and so this meant that there was no way out. I was not wiping those strikes out. The best I'd be able to do would be to remove the 1 strike folder that didn't have a problematic video in, and that would just bring the strike count down to 3, which is still grounds for termination. To say that realization hit me hard would probably be an understatement. You probably don't know this, but I've had this channel for almost 15 years. There are literally hundreds of videos that I have privated from back when I made gaming content, from the very early days of Call of Duty duel commentaries with school friends to finding some success with Machinima Respawn. There's a lot of sentimentality attached to this channel before we even get to the anime content. I have backups, of course, but particularly in the anime content's case, it staying online is really important. Even when I move into a traditional job, it would be a genuine disaster to have no online proof of the years of work I spent creating content and amassing an audience. Under no circumstances would it ever hit the same to hand over offline video backups with only screenshots and claims of success, let alone having to come up with some explanation as to why that stuff doesn't exist online anymore. What kind of employer is ever going to trust someone like that? That brought about some debilitating anxiety in me, but it was the change in YouTube's termination policy that really had me honestly shaken. Nowadays, if your channel is terminated, not only do all your associated channels get deleted, but you aren't even permitted to hold an account on YouTube anymore. Of course, sometimes it can just be as easy as creating a new Gmail account and staying low, but there are countless examples of YouTube's modern AI moderation matching things like IP addresses, viewing patterns, aka what you watch and who you subscribe to, or simply cross-referencing devices you have the app installed on. Over and over again, eventually those new channels will be terminated. You will get caught. And the thought of not even being able to use YouTube as a consumer was beyond upsetting. Imagine not being able to comment on anything, like anything, just no ability to use the platform with any kind of account. Those first few days after all of this happened were really tough. I was just consumed with anxiety, just so stressed out by the thought of losing everything, not being able to use YouTube, and just generally ashamed of the kind of hubris I'd had to not be more considerate about the content I was using in my videos. Unfortunately, that was just the start of what was genuinely the most devastating week I have ever experienced to date. Now, I want to talk about something very serious now, entirely unrelated to YouTube. If you followed me for a very long time, you may well be aware that my mother has cancer. It first emerged in early 2013 and was stage 4 very soon after. Over the past 12 years, I've watched her health swing up and down as it would spread to one place and require chemotherapy. And she'd be okay, let her go somewhere else, then it would start again. She'd be okay, it'd start again. Rinse and repeat, over and over and over again, getting a little more serious with each and every flare-up. Unfortunately, that is the reality of stage 4. There's no cure, so it's just about keeping it at bay for as long as possible. The past couple of years have seen a pretty major decline, from an appearance on her liver that had her hospitalized for weeks to spots in other areas that have made mobility difficult. It's been immensely tough, and that's been no truer than when it spread to one of her lungs last year. It resulted in going through the strongest chemotherapy since she was first diagnosed, on something colloquially called the Red Devil. She now has a permanent lung catheter. She requires oxygen multiple times a day. Only one lung works properly, so even just a walk across the room is a gargantuan effort that leaves her breathless. It's been traumatic in the truest sense of the word to witness. Unfortunately, that Red Devil treatment did not work. On the Tuesday following these YouTube strikes, we found out that not only did that treatment not work, but in fact the cancer in the lung had grown, and there weren't any more treatments left. It's finally reached the inevitable, and so we've now moved from keeping it at bay over the past 12 years to simply keeping her comfortable for however long it takes for these things to play out. There's no timeline right now, so it's all just kind of the bleak unknown. It certainly makes the fate of a YouTube channel feel pretty insignificant, but I had to keep telling myself that it's okay to care about both. Over the weekend, I'd realized that one of the videos that had a piece of production material in it had since been officially revealed, so I could actually risk counterclaiming it and save my channel. It would bring my strikes down to 2. Unfortunately, while this heartbreaking news had hit myself and my family, I was also being emailed by YouTube's automated systems that, despite my ability to bring the strikes down to 2 now, all of the counterclaims that I had sent would not be processed, as their AI moderation had decided that I was abusing the system. It was only thanks to a very kind offer from Totally Not Mark that I was able to have my case put in front of real people and overturned. At that point, it was just a waiting game. Either Toei decided to pursue a formal cease and desist against me to terminate my channel, or the strikes would be removed. 10 long business days later, and I'm very thankful to put that stressor to bed. I really do wish this video could end on a kind of celebratory note, but instead I'm just kind of darkly amused by how completely insignificant this small victory feels now. I trade it all for a positive outcome to the other bad news, but I know that's not realistic. My plans for YouTube right now are as follows. The original uploads of my Daima videos are going to remain down. I don't want to risk any kind of leftover unofficial content that I may have missed. Instead, I'm going to write and edit the breakdowns for the final 2 episodes I didn't cover and release them as part of a complete compilation, a video that compiles every video I've made on Daima, but just with those problematic materials removed. Once enough time passes, I will of course consider making the uncut versions available elsewhere. I've had a lot of messages over the past few weeks asking me if there's any other way to support me, some kind of Patreon or Ko-fi or whatever, and that's really kind, but actually I would instead ask you to please donate that money to the Royal Marsden Hospital's donation page. They have looked after my mother and this family so incredibly well over these long years and have been genuinely brilliant at every turn, so I'll leave a link in the description to the donation page. They accept payments from anywhere in the world, you just need to click the enter address manually button. Of course there's no pressure, but if you were one of those people inclined to want to donate to me, please direct it there instead. That would genuinely mean a lot. I can't promise when I'll be able to deliver those animation breakdown videos, given I'm still kind of processing everything that's happened, but I'll do my best to get them out in a timely manner, and I really appreciate your patience. I know this was a lot of personal stuff especially, and a tone that is not often found in my videos, but I think it's really important to talk about these things openly, so I really appreciate you for listening and for all of your support over the years. It will forever mean the world to me, and I hope what I've spoken about today has been a lesson not just for your own YouTube careers, but maybe also a source of comfort for anyone going through similar family health issues. Again, I will keep you updated on the status of those videos, but for now I would just say thank you once again, and I will see you next time.